Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Low Def Media Podcast. I am Mike. I'm your host, and I'd like to thank you for taking the time for checking out the channel. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for helping build the channel. As always, if you hear something that you like, and this is the kind of content that you want to continue to listen to, do me a favor, become a subscriber. It really helps out a bunch. And we always solicit your feedback. So feel free to let me know what you think of the podcast or if you'd like to chime in on any of today's topics. Before we get going too far, as I always like to do, I'm going to break down the setup today. We have reverted back to the DepsTech 4K webcam, just for simplicity reasons, because it records right into my video editor. So there's no need to mess with memory cards or anything like that. It is a 4K image. And so it's very simple, just goes right into the Mac Mini and easy peasy. We've got it paired today with the FDUS SL40 dynamic microphone. This is my favorite when it comes to podcasting, just because of the sound. It's very similar to more expensive Shure microphones. And so I really like the dynamics of it. And it's also an XLR mic. And so if you want to use it in that capacity, I've got it USB-C today, but you can also use it as an XLR mic if you want to get the most out of this microphone. All right, so enough of that. So what are we going to talk about? Well, today, not going to be very long. Before I forget, we are doing both video and we're doing audio. So if you're on Spotify, you can do both. You can watch it or listen. And if you like going to YouTube to watch podcasts, it'll be there on the Low Def Media channel. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? Well, the first thing I want to talk about is something that happened to me this week. Okay, so I felt kind of nostalgic. All these videos that I've seen on YouTube with content creators, and they're talking about the DJI Osmo Pocket 2 and whether it's still usable or good enough in 2022, okay? Because a lot of them, like me, are very excited about the Pocket 3 coming out. It was supposed to be November. Now it looks like it's going to be early of next year, but we're very excited about that. And so that causes them to want to go to the previous model and say, well, given that this is still available, is there any real reason to upgrade? I did the same thing when Insta360 came out with the X3. I own the One X2, and I did a video and I said, look, the specs are pretty similar. The only thing that's really different, you're getting a slightly larger sensor on both sides and the screen's bigger. All right. But if you don't want to shell out that money, if you already own one, then you don't need to shell out the money to upgrade, because the one you've got is plenty good enough. Now, if you don't have one, then yes, it's worth it to go to the newest model because you're getting all the features for relatively the same price. And that's the topic. That's topic number one. Topic number one is this. Camera prices. And I don't know if I've mentioned this on this podcast or if it was a YouTube short or maybe it was a YouTube video, but I know I've brought it up at least once, but it bears repeating. When I was younger, you always waited for the newest thing to come out so that you could get a price break on the previous version. iPads and phones and all that. Phones are a great example. When the new phone comes out, you get a better price on the old phone because they're trying to get rid of that inventory. So that's, a great example. And so you expect that, that's what's up here. So now you expect that to be what happens when new cameras come out. Now, I'm going to start with one camera, and I didn't even have it written down in my notes. It just popped in my head. I have a Canon T7i. You can probably see it right about, there it is. It's right there. So that is my first, I would say, serious camera. It's a DSLR. It's got a 1080 video, 24 megapixel pictures, and it's got the audio out, for external mics, and it does clean HDMI. And so it's got the flippy screen. It's got all the things that a content creator would want. And that's why I bought it probably 4, maybe 5 years ago. And so Hold on just a moment. My computer timed out. I forgot to change that prior to starting. So let's get this back up and running. And I'm going to take just a moment and I'm going to change that because I don't want to have to fiddle with this. All right. And with the miracle of editing, I can take that right out. All right. So that was my first content creator camera because that's what everyone was using at the time. So that's what I wanted. So that's what I got. Now, granted, that was 4 or 5 years ago, right? I looked just the other day at how much that camera goes for now, and it's the same price. I paid probably $700 for that camera back in the day. I would say 2015, maybe 2016. And that camera goes for the same amount as it did then. It sells for over $700 right now. That to me is mind-boggling. So here are the cameras that I wrote down because these are the ones that had new releases this year. Okay. So the first one on my list, and I will have to get my glasses. The first one is the GoPro Hero 11 Black. I've got the Hero 10. The Hero 10 is now selling for $349.98. Now that's without a subscription or anything. That's just going onto Amazon and buying it. $349. If you want the 11, it's $399 with the GoPro subscription of $50 a year. You get the price break. If not, you're paying over $500 for that camera. Okay. But if you get the subscription, $50, you get it for $399. So $399 compared to $349. Heck, why go for the 10? If you don't have one, go for the 11. But if you've already got the 10, $400 to go to the 11 doesn't make sense. Okay. But look how similar those prices are. Look how close they are. And I understand that they're a year apart. I mean, they're not that far apart when it comes to technology and things. But still, you would think that you'd want to knock that price down enough to where you can get rid of that inventory and really drive people to the 11. All right. So the DJI, let's see, Pocket One. I also own that one. I mentioned that in the beginning of the clip. I found it for $310 and $399 on Amazon. Two different sellers, $310, $399. The new one, the 2, $349. I don't understand it. Why aren't these prices going down? They're going up. The DJI Osmo Action 1, $318. That one's at least 3 or 4 years old. It's the first iteration from DJI into the action cam arena. Okay, so $318. Their newest camera, the 3. Okay, the 3, $329. So they're pretty much the same price, but the technology is totally different. The sensor size totally different. What they can do totally different. So why isn't that price going down? Why isn't it any easier for people to get into that space by getting an inexpensive camera with really good features? Why are they all so stinking expensive to where now you have to decide, well, do I go for the really, really new one and only pay, what is that, like $10 more? It's mind-boggling. Okay, last one. If you wanted the 7, the GoPro Hero 7, which I also own, I upgraded from the 7. I skipped the 8 and the 9, went to the 10. So the 7. If I wanted to buy a new one of those today, $399. $399 on Amazon. If you want a refurbished one, $299. So that's $299, $300 for a 7 when you could buy a new one for $399 with the subscription or a 10 for $350. I don't understand. Are the cameras just that good? Or, there is no other or. I can only assume that the cameras are just that good. Now, this leads me into one of my other points. I like content. I like being a content creator. You can look around my office and you can see that I've got, up here, I've got, and I feel really silly with my finger in the air, but I've got a microphone. I've got a camera. I've got cameras here. I've got a tripod, another camera here. and I've got all this gear in front of me and what I'm recording with. So I like this. Okay. This is what brings me joy. And so I understand why I see a lot of content creator driven material on YouTube and Instagram, because it's what I search for. It's what I like seeing. Now, what I don't understand is why there's so much attention given to cameras. All right. Best Buy and Amazon, and just, I mean, there's so many stores that sell camera gear. Okay. Now follow me. But what percentage of the population actually buy cameras? And I've got a story for you. And I don't know if I've said this before, but possibly you're a first-time listener, so this is new to you. I have a family member who recently bought a Canon T7, very entry-level DSLR camera, very similar to my T7i, but it lacks a couple features like the flippy screen and some of the other dials and buttons. But it's a very respectable camera. You can buy them at Walmart for around $400. Okay, so she bought that camera because she wants to start taking family photos and pictures of her baby. Okay, which I applaud. That's exactly what it's designed for. Now here's where it gets interesting. She's reached out to friends and said, "Hey, look, I got this camera. And if you want, I'll take pictures. I'll do photo sessions with you. We can go out and find a nice picturesque place outside, maybe next to some cotton or a lake or something, and I'll take some photos." Now this is somebody who doesn't have a high-end camera, who's got a very entry-level camera, zero experience, and people are saying, "Yeah, sure, let's do that," because they don't have a camera, they don't have a tripod. And I find that most people I talk to don't have cameras, like dedicated cameras. It's all their iPhone. And so I'm questioning, who is all this? You see all this advertising, Best Buy, and I don't really know of any other electronic stores anymore. There used to be Circuit City, but now they're defunct. Most of them are online, but you still see Canon does a lot of advertising, Sony, and I see content creators getting a Sony A7S III, $3,500. You don't need an A7S III if you're going to be putting videos on YouTube. Okay, that's not what you need. I'm using a 4K webcam. You can use my T7i, which only shoots 1080, and still get perfectly usable video for YouTube. Why is there even a market for $3,500 cameras for online content creators, influencers? I don't get it. I don't understand that. So that was one point, is how many people actually own them. Now here's the second point, and I wrote this down. What are your expectations for the pictures you take? So let's say you use your iPhone, your Android, and that's your primary camera. You use that to take your pictures with. What is your expectation when you take that picture? You're probably not going to edit it. You'll probably use the internal editor for that photo. You'll save it. A very small percentage of the people who take that image will actually print it and put it up. If you look behind me, again, I got to put my finger up in the air. All these pictures that you see up here on the wall, those are pictures that I took with my camera. I printed them here in my office. I put them there. Okay. Even this one over here, same thing. Because that's my purpose. I take those pictures because I want to put them up. Okay. Again, I'm a content creator. That's what I enjoy doing. Okay. So that's me though. But what is the expectation of the average person who goes out and like my friend, family member who went out and bought the camera? What's her expectation? What's she going to do with that? Is she going to print it? Doesn't have a printer. Is she going to download it? Doesn't have a computer. So what is she going to do with it? She's got to store them on a disk, and then what? What is the expectation? So I wrote down a couple things. Here, storage. I take a ton. Everything that I put out on YouTube, Instagram, all the pictures that I take, family functions, I put them on an external hard drive. All of them. So I store them. So that way they're always there. Back in the day, you would always print them. You'd shove them in a box. You always had them. But now it's an external hard drive. Are you going to print them? I do, but most people don't. Most people don't print their pictures. And it's so easy. You can send them to Walgreens. You can go online, send all your pictures to Walgreens, pick them up in an hour. And it's relatively inexpensive. What is the lifespan? How long do you plan to keep that picture? If it's on your phone, you only have a finite amount of space, and then you've got to start making critical decisions. What do I keep and what do I get rid of so that I don't exceed my space limit? Now you can always buy more, but it's not infinite. It is finite, and eventually you will max out and you got to make those decisions. What are you going to do? Most people don't have a game plan for their photos. Now, if you get something like Amazon Photos, it's unlimited, but still, now you got a bunch of pictures that really no longer mean much to you. So what's your plan? Most people don't have one. And then do you take the pictures to share them? I share a lot of my pictures. If I take a picture on my phone, I'm usually going to send that to somebody. I'm usually going to put it on Instagram. I'm usually going to do something other than just let it curate there on my phone. But that's me. I'm different. I get it. But my question is, what do most people do? Is that why they take the picture to share, or do they just keep it? I have no idea. You tell me. You let me know what you think about that. Why do you take pictures? What do you do with them? I'd love to get your feedback. All right, what's my other topic? Being in shape. All right, I write these notes down when I go out. I go out on walks or I observe people, and these ideas come to mind, and I'll usually put them in a voice memo on my phone, and then I'll play it back and write it down in my journal so that I have it as a talking point. So this is something I found interesting. So I see people walking around, male, female, and let's say they're in shape, okay? A female works out, gets in shape. What happens? First of all, what's her goal? Her goal is, I want to be thinner. I want to look better because I want to be more attractive, okay? Well, now you're more attractive because now you've got a body type that other people want to look at, and you get unnecessary or unwanted attention. Okay, that was not what you wanted. You didn't want that attention. You wanted the kind of attention you wanted to get from a potential suitor that you liked. But now you are being looked at by people you don't want to look at you. So that's an unintended consequence of being in shape. And is it fair? Probably not. I mean, you could sit here and say it's absolutely not fair, but that's the unintended consequence of being in shape and making yourself more attractive. Now, a lot of times what I've noticed is when they get more in shape, especially females, they tend to wear clothes that probably accentuate that new look, that physique. All right. They're not wearing baggy sweats as much. They're like, oh, I can wear a cute dress. I can wear this. I can wear that. And so now it just kind of promotes the work that they've done, and it shows that, hey, I'm in shape. And so now, again, more people are going to pay attention, good or bad. All right. So then you look on the other side for guys. Why do guys work out? Guys work out because they want to appear more manly for the first part, because that's what society tells us, that men are supposed to look a certain way, manly. But then also because they want to look probably more intimidating, because men are protectors and they don't want to look like, the guy who gets sand kicked in his face. And so they do that. And so our desire to work out, yes, we do want to look more attractive to the other sex, but I would say that we don't nearly get that much attention for it. I mean, and again, I'm a guy, so I may not see it the same way, but I don't see as many guys being ogled for being in shape as you would a female. And a female gets negative attention from both sides. She gets catcalls and things from the male side, and then she'll get women say, oh, look, she's just showing off, or, oh, she's this. And, women are notorious for tearing each other down to build their own selves up. So I just thought that the dynamics of why men and women work out to get in shape, and then those negative consequences that come with it. You may have a very valid reason for being in shape. You want to be healthy. All right. Maybe you just want to live longer. but then all the negative stuff comes with it. And it's like, well, why do I even bother? All right. So last topic. And I think, you know what? I think that was it. I had 4 topics and we hit all of them. The only other, I guess, topic that I will talk about is Christmas. I mean, it's right around the corner, and I'm telling you, Christmas has become so materialistic. I am really starting to embrace the less is more mentality because there's only so much stuff that you can accumulate or need. And so I find that I got in a pattern this last year of buying stuff that I didn't need, just stuff that I wanted. And it wasn't productive. It wasn't, good. It didn't provide any kind of benefit. I'll put it to you that way. Because you only need so many of one thing. And so next year, my challenge to myself is buy less stuff. And less is more. Enjoy what I've got, make do with what I've got, become really good at using what I've got, and then only buy what I need. I want to see what that looks like for the next year. But hey, I'm looking at the clock. It's 20 minutes now that we've been on air. And so I think that's plenty. It's a great little time frame for podcasting. So I'm going to give you back the rest of your day. And I'm going to thank you for taking time to watch or listen to the show. Really do appreciate that. Make sure to become a subscriber if this is the kind of content you like. Make sure to provide feedback. And we will see you in the next one.